Hey everyone, it's Jen with Spirited Saturdays, and sorry that I haven't made a video in a few weeks that involved me talking to you. I know I did the Born This Way video, but I feel like it's been a little while now since we've had a chance to talk. So I'm happy to be back and talking about this week's topic, which is body flaws. I'm going to draw a little bit from my personal experience and then talk about what kinds of things help me. So I grew up thinking that my body was not only flawed but deformed. I've used that word on many occasions. I've brought it to the people who were there to help me, you know, my therapist, my nutritionist, others who were in the position to help me as a legitimate concern, as like trying to really get a good reality check, because and I would never actually show them like my stomach, which is the thing that I thought was deformed, because I was far too ashamed to do that. But I would try to describe it the best that I could and try to get some validation that, yeah, or I don't know, final seal on what I already believed to be true, which is that it was deformed and that there was really no hope there. I think that part of my eating disorder was an attempt to fix the parts of me that I felt were that terrible, and that never happened because just to give you an example, that the reason that I always felt this way about my stomach was literally the shape of my stomach. And no matter how much weight I lost when I was anorexic, it didn't actually change the shape of my stomach. So even though it was smaller, it didn't. I still felt like it was just as big as it had ever been, because all that was standing out to me was its shape, and the fact that I couldn't lose that meant that I wasn't being good enough at this. So, okay, so let's be more positive. Okay, so I've believed that forever. Now I don't. I had, though, and I thought that it was going to interfere with with being intimate with people. Because I even as a kid, I couldn't imagine how anyone would possibly find me attractive, and so that really affected my connections with others and my belief in myself, my own worthiness. It played out into other areas, and I think that I think that maybe some of the cause of this is almost it's a combination. I think that it's the messages that we tell ourselves, that I told myself, the messages that I got from, well, maybe not so directly, but some of the people around me, and the messages of the media. And I say this, and I know that the media is discussed a lot, but I think it's worth it to keep bringing it up, because the media is tricky. It sneaks up on you. I used to think that I wasn't affected by it. I used to think I was immune to it. I didn't understand what the big hype was about the media, how all these people were affected by the media. But I realize now that the media is subtle, and it sneaks up on you, and it affects you on an unconscious level, because just being exposed to it, even if you don't pay a lot of attention to it, just the fact that it is all around us and there is nothing else, you know, that defines pop culture. There's really not a lot of opposing messages as an overarching theme. It's an unconscious, subtle, sneaky thing that has been building up over however long a lifetime of being exposed to it, and that I think that those messages do get wired into your brain, because the media does present a standard way of looking, and it does associate looking a certain way with being happy or being sexy or being cool or just having the right to love your body and find yourself attractive. You know, that just it really there's so many interpretations that can be made when you see a certain, a certain type of a person with a certain type of body selling something, making it sexy and making it beautiful, and you can internalize those messages and measure yourself against the people being shown to you. It's even worse that a lot of the media is not really representing actual people. A lot of it is photoshopped, and from magazines and billboard ads and just all of that, everything is photoshopped. So everything that you see on a page, or possibly even videos, can be photoshopped, and often is. So I do think that it's an unconscious seeping in of messages that we just see all the time. It's almost like a passive way of learning. And I think that what's helped me is seeking people out, because you have to seek them out. They're not going to just present themselves. Seeking people out who challenge those messages and who oppose them, whose very messages, whose very core, who's people who inherently feel very different, people who inherently honor parts of honor their bodies, honor themselves, and don't look like the people that you see splattered in ads everywhere. Not to say that people don't look like that, and that's not okay if they do, but the media does not represent a variety. So so it definitely takes people to challenge it on a very conscious level, and I think it takes extra effort to both put it out there and to receive it and to internalize it, and what those people are doing. And if you can look at pictures, you can watch their videos, and I'll link you to one of them, is that they are doing several things. They are normalizing body parts, or their bodies as a whole, that the media would indirectly tell us is wrong, is bad. So they're automatically taking what the media says is not good, is abnormal, is definitely not good enough, and they're saying it's normal. They're normalizing it. And we need to hear that. We need to hear that, because for sure I needed to hear that. But anyway, so they're normalizing it, and they're also associating it with love and compassion and gratitude. And so it's like every time you hear somebody say, I love my stomach, I am grateful for my stomach, I have compassion toward my stomach, and I am grateful for all the things that are going on inside my stomach that are keeping me alive, that are helping me live. And when you hear those enough times, it can be a conditioning of sorts. It can rewire your brain to associate that part of your body with something positive. And then soon that, over time, I think that those things can like be as one. There doesn't have to be this effort to say, you don't have to fake it anymore after a certain time, and the two don't have to be separate. You really can feel authentic compassion for every single part of your body, and you deserve that. It frustrates me to no end to think that others don't believe they're worthy of other people's noticing them, loving them, being affectionate with them, or to think that others are saying that because of how they look, they don't deserve to have a sense of peace about their bodies. And the truth is, it's not about how you look, it's about how you treat yourself. And if you're treating yourself well because you want to form a healthier relationship with your body and you want to work toward that point, what your body actually looks like is secondary. And it's, if you actually are working toward that goal of achieving a sense of wholeness, because you're more than your body, then in the end, by nature of, just by virtue of that process, that your body is going to be secondary. It's not going to be the thing that defines you. It's going to be integrated. Maybe secondary was the wrong word. I think integrated is a better word, because I don't want to think of the body as secondary, so forget that. But I think if you condition yourself over time enough to just associate positive things with your body and be grateful, then you and act in line with what your self needs, and with act in line with this journey that you're on of becoming happy and becoming content and becoming peaceful and feeling whole, then yeah, I think that practice is going to integrate you with your body, and you won't feel like your body is this like unnecessary, you know, thing that you have to sculpt and contort, and you know, that was actually forget what okay. Yeah. Whoa, it's late. Please don't mind me. Yeah, and so I think looking at people who are saying, I love my body, these flaws are not actually flaws. They're flaws that other people have labeled flaws. And what right do they have? Who are they? Who are they to tell me that the shape of my stomach is wrong? I don't think it's wrong anymore. And in fact, I've looked at so many other women, not that I'm not saying that in a comparing way or in any kind of obsessive way, but I do watch people and I pay attention to people who are proud of their bodies, who love their bodies. And I learn from them. I take so much from them. And because of hearing those messages and exposing myself to those messages, I see how perfectly acceptable and fine and good and all that kind of stuff my body is. And that's not because I'm a certain size. It's not because I'm a certain weight. It's because I'm a human being, and the flaw continuum can stretch so far, and I don't care if it's whatever end of the spectrum people are labeling as flawed. It never is. It never is. That's something that you're being told. So it never is. And if there's something inside of you that's incomplete, yeah, work on that. If that's going to affect the way your body changes, that will happen naturally. By no means am I saying that if you are not healthy, that you should say, okay, whatever, I'm going to stay where right now, you know, just like if you know, somebody's watching this who is severely underweight, I'm not saying totally fine to be severely underweight. I'm simply saying that don't be, what am I saying? When you are severely underweight, and I was at one point, I was underweight. I was scared of having fat on me, having more fat on me, having more weight, watching the number go up, because I thought that meant that I would be flawed. And it wasn't. And that was a fear that I had. And it ended up not being true. I don't feel flawed because I am not anorexic. I don't feel flawed because, you know, I am whatever weight I am. I'm okay, and I'm proud to be the weight that I am, and I'm proud to have the body that I have because it's a reflection of me treating it well. And that's the ultimate goal, is to treat yourself well because you know you deserve it, you know you feel worthy of it, and not to let anybody tell you that you have a flaw that makes you less than, because that never is true. Have a great week, and I will see you next week. Take